Well, hello there. My name is George, and I have a guest with me today. His name is Jim Williams, and I'd like to introduce you to Jim Williams. I've known him for actually really over for 30 years. I've really actually known his father more, but when I met his father, he was more of Jim was a little bit more of a younger guy, and so Jim was just kind of in the shadows, and then slowly learning more and more about the health field. But had been with his father for 30 years, and I would just like to introduce you now, Jim. And Jim, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a nutritionist, herbalist, iridologist, and have been doing this work for 30 years, basically. My father and I opened the first health food store in Port Huron, Michigan, back in 1973, and operated that store for over 20 years. Little by little, I got more interested in nutrition and took classes and studied, got certified in nutrition and herbology and so forth, and began to build a private practice. And my father was a medical technologist and a lab chemist in medicine, in the medical field. When he began to make a shift away from that to more natural health care, the reason for that was he saw the same people year after year coming back in with the same problems and thought, gee, there's got to be a different approach to this, something that would actually work long term. So as we got into natural health care more, we realized that there was a great need for doing consulting work, talking to people one-on-one and helping them understand what they need to do in terms of taking control of their own health through the way they ate and their lifestyle. So more than anything, I consider myself in the education business. I want other people to know what they need to do for themselves and how to take care of themselves. As we got more and more into consulting, we decided to sell the health food store and just devote ourselves continually to consulting. So that switch took place about 15 years ago.
Okay, question. You said you're an herbalist and an iridologist.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Iridology or iridology is the study of the iris of the eye to determine what's going on in the body. It's a non-invasive way to look in the iris of the eye and see what the general health condition is of various parts of the body. All the nerve signals in the body come to the brain, and of course the eye is part of the brain. So those nerve signals come to the brain and come through into the fibers of the eye and affect how the eye looks. Every eye is different, and we can look in the eye and see certain things about what the function is of the thyroid gland or the gastrointestinal tract or whatever it might be. So again, that's just one of the tools that I use to determine what's happening in the body without invading the body in any way. I use several other non-invasive tools to understand what the nutritional balance is and what each individual person requires in order for the body to work optimally.
Very interesting. Yeah, I know you've looked in my eyes before, and I've always found it very, very fascinating. And also some other ways that you and your father would just approach it. And I was always very intrigued in how you actually knew what was going on in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to really tell you much. So tell me a little bit about you personally. About, like, are you married or do you have kids?
Married, have two grown sons that were raised on a natural foods diet. They don't live at home anymore. One is married, lives in Michigan in the town that I live in, and the other lives in Pennsylvania. But my boys were raised on a completely natural foods diet. And here's an interesting side fact about my sons. My sons never had a shot in their life. My oldest son is 31 now, and youngest is 28. Never had a shot in their life while they were with me. Never were to a doctor in their life. And I'm not making that wrong to go to a doctor or get a shot. It's just that I know from personal experience, day in and day out, that if we do the right things for the body, keep the body cleansed, get the right nutrients back in, there isn't a need to go to the doctor. Now, if you break your leg or something, go to the doctor. Don't find me and make an appointment. Go to the doctor for that. But in terms of the long view of keeping the body well, keeping the immune system up, and so forth, we want to make sure we have a lot of nutrient-dense foods, foods that contain the vitamins and minerals that are needed, and also the supplements that supply what's needed. You know, you're not going to get all the nutrients you want out of food these days, so we really have to supplement.